Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Rafael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Rafael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. Lindsay, good morning. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? This has been a long time in waiting.
No, I know. So I'm going to answer that question for you. I am exceptional and getting better every day. And I am better now because you and I are on this Coaching Call show.
Thanks, Sifu. I'm happy to be here. Same to
Absolutely.
you.
So what I love about this particular show is not when I talk, but when you do, right? So because I learn nothing when I talk. And so my whole thing with this particular show is getting to know you. So we go from your childhood to your current state. So there's two questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Where were you born and who influenced you before the age of 10 to 15, around that time, anytime between that?
Yeah. So I was born at UCLA Medical Center. So getting very specific.
Wow, I like it.
in the Los Angeles area. And I would say it's interesting when I think about who's influenced me. I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed with a lot of, amazing mentors, family, etc. But what's coming to mind for me right now really are my two best friends that have been my best friends since I was 5. And we won't say how long we've been friends. Age. It's been more than a couple decades. And I think just having, friends, which is really like the family you choose for yourself, having those deep relationships at such a young age where you can really be yourself and be loved for it anyway, I think is, something that has really grounded me and I'm incredibly grateful for.
You said 2 friends since the age of 5.
Yeah.
I wish I would have remembered my friends when I was 5. I do recall some people, but even in elementary school, it was actually, for me, it was more like my teachers who impacted me. So your friends, obviously you're still friends with them.
Yes.
Which is incredible. Wow.
Yes.
What's one of the things that you would say that you remember from back when you first started meeting them? What was it that attracted you all together? And what is it that keeps you all together now?
Yeah. It's funny because I was actually a fairly shy kid, at least in big group settings, and they were incredibly extroverted. Like to this day, I tease them that they could talk to a wall. Like they could have a whole conversation. And I think that now I have the words for it, but I think at the time I feel like their inclusiveness was really needed as a shy kid, right? It was like we know you because we spend time with you, not in these big groups. And, you can feel like you're just tagging along and not feel like you belong. But when somebody is like, nope, you're with us, right? Like, no, you're part of us, that experiencing that sense of inclusion and belonging really, I think, just makes a huge difference.
Wow. Yeah. And a lot of people are not included. Sometimes they do feel like an outsider. You said something that made me think, and I kind of laughed in my head.
Yeah.
You said that your friends were so out there that they can talk to the wall. They probably had to because they probably got in trouble for being so outward, and they probably had to go to the corner and talk in the wall. um,
I don't think they were like that, but yeah, but they were, yes, I know, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah, no, they're just like to this day, like the friendliest people, like are such builders of community. And I think, to answer kind of your second question, I think that's one of the things that probably cements us is that we are very like open to all kinds of relationships, new relationships. Oh, a friend of yours is a friend of mine. It's like mi amigo es su amigo, right? Like it's the same. It's kind of the same phenomenon, and that really has stuck with, I think, all of us to today.
Right. Wow. So, are you still living in Los Angeles?
I am. I have gone around the world a couple times, but yes, I am back in Los Angeles now for about a decade. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
I go there a couple of times a year, and it is very interesting and a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, it's it's interesting when you go through certain neighborhoods, right? When you're driving and you
yeah,
see the difference in housing. I do the same thing in New York. When I
yeah,
drive, I look at the different housing, and you
yeah,
can tell the neighborhoods change based on the housing. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
what's one of the things that you would say growing up in LA that really stood out for you as an introvert, if you will? Because I think that introverts are one of the people or the type of people who truly pay attention to their
Yeah,
surroundings.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because I actually don't classify myself, at least today, as an
Not
introvert.
now, back then, I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think, it's so cliche. I almost hate to say it. Um, but I think there are a couple things that stand out. I think one is even growing up, there is that Hollywood vibe.
Mhm.
Even though I grew up really far away from Hollywood, it is a little bit in the water. And there are kids I went to school with who were in a commercial or, like things like that. Like it's just, there are things that are just there.
Mm,
Um, and I think the other thing is just like the being outdoors, right?
mhm,
That you really live outdoors.
yeah.
And so, I mean, I tell my son all the time, like, I used to have PE class on the beach. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just is such a part of Southern California living.
Mm,
And so I know for me, that's like my happy place is when I
yeah.
can really be out in nature and, see the water and all that. So I think
It's
that
it's
really stuck with me.
it sure is beautiful. I have a friend of mine who's like, "You need to come move to San Diego. You need to come to San
Ugh.
Diego. You need to move here."
If you move to San Diego, you're never leaving.
I know, right? But for me, I live in New York, right? And I don't necessarily think that New York is the place that I really wanna end up being for the rest of
Mm,
my life. I think New York is a great place, but I need to also move on from there.
yeah. Well, let me know when you're in Southern California.
Will do, will do. So, besides your 2 friends, right,
Yeah.
who else influenced you growing up? Teachers, coaches, anyone like that?
I mean, my parents were definitely big, mentors and, just big parts of my life, my upbringing. I mean, I really feel like I'm a bit of a mix of them.
Mm,
But I'll also say I have to do a shout out to my younger sister because I
mm,
think actually being the older sister and now, she's a best friend. She's not just my sister, but
nice.
that also really shapes you as a person. Like I do believe in some of the birth order psychology. So I got to give a shout out to her too.
Yeah, what's her name?
Her name is Dara.
there.
And she's a coach too.
Oh, look at that. We'll have to do both of you at one time.
Oh, that would be
Together.
amazing.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in age? Because when you were younger, you probably noticed it, but now you don't notice it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're 4.5 years apart. And which my parents attribute to me being a challenging kid. They're like, there's a reason it's 4.5 years.
They were thinking about
Um,
another one.
yeah, they're like, there was no way we're having another one of you.
Mm,
And then of course she's like super mellow and chill.
mm,
Thankfully for them. Yeah, so like growing up, we were never in school together except like kindergarten and 5th grade, so we really didn't interact as much, to your
right.
point. It's not like, we were in school together and our friends knew, each other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you consider where you are today,
Mhm.
let's talk through the progress or the stages of your development, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people will look at you and go, "Oh, I don't know how you do it." But there is a system that it didn't happen overnight. You did
Yeah.
not become who you are overnight. And it's that process that a lot of people don't realize, even for celebrity, right? And you're
Yeah.
around them, they
Yeah.
don't become a celebrity overnight. And that, if it does happen, that's like a miracle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us what your process was. When did you realize that helping other people was in your calling?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where being, being an older sister, I think does create a little bit of that,
Right.
where you feel like you need to role model, or you need to lead the way, or, like, we're going to go do this now. Um, and she might disagree with that. But I do think it shapes you. I think also, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times I was the kid in school that, a new kid, brand new to the school, would come and I would just be like, "Oh, this person, like, you wanna come play with us," right?
Mm,
I don't know, I think there was the helper gene maybe,
mm,
was in me for a while, and then, as I got older, I did student government, tried, volunteering, so things like that, I think, become a little bit reinforcing that it's great to be able to support people, whether it's, having fun and being spirited, like in student government, or
mm.
just, being a good friend.
Yeah. You talked about two things that I think probably did shape you a lot in student government. Let's go into that one first,
Yeah.
and then volunteering, right?
Mhm.
Because I think that there's some structure when you go into student government. Let's talk
Mhm.
about that, because as a coach, you understand that structure is so needed.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about student government, and what was some of the biggest lessons that, if you were to recall, you say, "Oh, now I get
It's interesting. I feel very lucky because I had several close friends in student government as well,
it." Mm,
and some had been in student government like the year before I was, and they were kind of showing me the ropes a little bit of like, this is how things are done. But I think what I really appreciated about student government was we all had a voice.
mm,
Whether you were a freshman or a senior, you were there to represent your classmates and, provide activities and events. I mean, that was our outcome, right? Now I think about it, it's like, oh, this is the culture. I think about it from a different organizational lens.
right.
But yeah, I mean, there was something about getting people excited, trying to better understand what, people would get excited about and be interested in, and how do we make decisions together,
Mm,
collaborate? What are the things that we're going to do as classes and be competitive? What are
mm,
the things that we're going to do as an entire school?
right.
So I think there is, you're right, there is a nice structure to it. And I even remember in student government, when we'd be in student government meetings, we used a lot of kind of, I don't know, I guess government principles of like,
Huh.
all who say aye, all who
Mhm,
say nay,
right,
mission or, initiative passed. I don't remember all the language off the top
right.
of my head. You're bringing me back.
See that? That's what I do.
Yeah, but yeah, so there was something to it.
Mm. What was your role, in being part of student government? Because everybody does have some sort of a
Yeah.
role.
Yeah. So, the first couple of years that I was in it, I think we called them like assembly person.
Mhm.
It's like you're like the senator or
Right.
whatever. But then as you got older, then I ultimately ended up being student body president. So
Mhm.
that was my senior year. So you kind of, like built up for it. And, one of my friends who I was in student government with, they're like, well, what are you going to run for this year? Oh, okay. So if you're going to run for that, then I'll run for that. So we kind of would be like, what do you want? Okay,
Mhm.
that sounds good. Like one of my best friends was junior class president, and so I was
Mm.
like, "Great, I'll run for assembly person so I can help you with the junior prom," because that was
Mm.
like the big core responsibility of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but student body president was interesting because I actually became student body president in what I will call my first merger.
Mm.
So there were 3 high schools where I lived, but due to declining enrollments and budget cuts, my senior year of high school, they closed all 3 high schools and reopened one
Mm.
combined high school. So that year was actually, each school got to elect a student body president. So
Mm.
there were 3 of us
Wow.
that were, student body presidents, and get this, this is kind of wacky. Hadn't talked to both of them since high school. A couple years ago, I ran into one of them at a baseball tournament, and his son and my son are on the same baseball team in high school.
Wow. Small world, right?
Small world. Yes. Yes. So it's kind of fun.
So I can only imagine that there was some debates that went on, how do we accomplish this? What's the goals and all of these things? So there is a lot of structure that does happen even with teenagers, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing for schools to have such a system where they learn to, like you said, collaborate, to work
Yeah.
with each other. Where did you volunteer and why did you even bother volunteer? I mean, you could have been doing your own thing.
Yeah, so I also was involved in my youth group
Mm.
growing up, and I was like the gosh, you're really bringing me back. I don't remember the names of these things. It's been so
Fine.
long. I'm dating myself here. But it was like the head of social action. So
Mhm.
my role was to coordinate volunteer events for the youth group.
Mm.
And so, like, one of the ones I remember doing was making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and passing them out to homeless people.
Mm.
I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that we did, but I don't know, once a quarter or a few times a year, we would either poll everybody or we'd hear about something that somebody else did in another part of the country and be like, "Oh, we can do that." And so we just kind of coordinated to do some of those activities too.
Yeah, that's cool. It makes everybody understand that, we can help someone. I
Yeah.
remember when I was a kid, we did a project cleanup, and we went around. Not only
Mm.
did we clean our block, but we went to the surrounding blocks and
Yeah.
we cleaned, and I'm talking New York City, right? Cleaned, and it's dirty, right? And
Yeah.
we cleaned for hours upon hours, and the blocks were beautiful. And of
Yeah.
course, it happens again. People don't care, they throw stuff
Yeah.
out their car windows and so forth. So that was a project that we were doing consistently, and
Yeah.
it was exciting and fun, even
Yeah.
though we were picking up somebody else's garbage, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
'Cause you're doing it in community, right?
correct, correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's better in community.
Of course, everything is always better because you know what? You get to have fun with people you like, or you get to learn about somebody that you never may have been in touch with before.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hearing a little echoing in the
Oh,
background. Do you have this playing? Because I hear a delay also.
no. Is it
It's
better if I'm a little closer to the mic?
No, I hear myself.
Oh, no, I don't hear you echoing.
Oh, okay. Then there we go. We're good then. So let's move on to what happened to Lindsay after high school.
Yeah.
What happened? What'd you do? What was your goals? What was your ambitions back then?
Yeah. So, after high school,
Mm,
I went to college
mm,
at UC Berkeley, which was a blast. And I majored in anthropology, minored in education, thought I was gonna be an archaeologist at one point,
mm,
and, went on a few archaeological digs, and
yeah.
there was a common theme running through those archaeological digs that people would get into squabbles or, we needed collaboration, and I would usually get pulled out like, "Hey, these people aren't getting along. Can you go talk to them?"
Oh my
"Hey."
goodness.
And so I think the realization for me was, okay, it's not about dead people. It needs to be about living people. That's really where my skill set is. So, but I had a lot of fun in college. I was in a sorority, was able to have leadership roles there.
Mm,
Also, participated in some community service around like healthy eating habits.
mm,
So, b- there are a lot of eating disorders that happen in college. So, worked with an organization to support that and, had some part time jobs, during the summers and whatnot. So, yeah, at one point I thought I was going to be a teacher. So, I don't know, just really college for me was a lot about exploring. I studied abroad. I don't know, anthropology is kind of a hopeless romantics major. You learn about
yeah.
other countries, cultures, it's fun.
One of my black belts just is going off to college. He's going for archaeology.
Oh, wow, very cool.
Who knows if he'll stick it out because we don't know, right?
Yeah,
Just like you didn't know.
yeah,
It is, if you look at Indiana Jones kind of deal, right? You see them digging stuff up like, "That's what I wanna do," but it's
yeah.
not really that, is it?
It's not, although there is a little bit of digging for treasure feel
Sure.
to it. But at least you said Indiana Jones and not Jurassic Park, because sometimes
Right,
people get paleontology and anthropology mixed up, so I'm
right, right.
grateful for that.
Yes, of course, of course. So, you realize that, your calling was more for living than the past, for the
Mm,
present, maybe
mhm,
in the future also.
mhm.
When did you realize that, this was going to be something that you would really, I guess, delve into?
I mean, I think I have had so many pivots. There's a thread between them all, but I've had so many pivots because I actually shifted into advertising, because I was like, well, I studied culture and advertising is material culture.
Right.
And I did that for a little bit, but then discovered that here I am again, volunteering for recruiting, volunteering for training. So that's really when I ended up pivoting into human resources.
Mm.
And so, human resources, a lot of coaching of people on their experience. So that kind of created the transition there too.
So when you think about human resources, somebody listening to us communicate, they may have an idea of what human resources is. They're like, oh, that's HR, right? That's
Mhm.
if you get in trouble with the company.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what people think normally. Uh, Expand on that if you can. Human resources.
yeah. I mean, it's different at every organization. I think there's, the human resources that I like to be part of, which is really helping the organization align the people with the strategy and, figure out how to help people grow, develop, do amazing things, feel amazing about the work that they're putting into the world,
Mhm.
in a culture that feels like they can have belonging and support and recognition and be valued for what they do. And there are different functions that are intended to support that. Unfortunately, a lot of human resources ends up falling into more of the stereotype that you talked about. But when you can be in a place that really values human resources and wants it to be a strategic thought partner and an employee experience builder and a steward of the company culture, I think it's a different kind of human resources experience.
I have a gentleman that I've known for quite some time, and he does human resources for
Mhm.
multiple companies, and he travels
Mhm.
a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes he travels 5 hours just to get to one of his clients.
Oh, wow.
And what winds up happening is he says a lot of times he's called in to fix problems
Yes. To
between
fix.
people who are working, and sometimes he's the one that has to fire people. And
Yeah.
that's the part that he doesn't like about it, but he likes it when he helps them figure out solutions to what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to us about the type of coaching that you do and how that really sparks something in you, right? But before you
Mhm.
do that, let me share this because you talked about nutrition and in colleges and people are um, in disarray, if you will.
Mhm.
So let me share this with you, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. I got to tell you, Lindsay, the reason I started that program is because I see so many executives who are chasing their dreams,
Mm.
but their health is suffering because of it.
Yeah.
That's why I created Sifu's Mind Body, which is the way I live my life, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I'm sure a lot of people benefit from that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting when we think about how we can help somebody. Sometimes we can't help them until they're ready for the help, and you
Yeah.
know that as a coach, right?
Yeah.
So, talk to us now. What inspired you to do exactly what you're doing today? What was your first feel or grasp of this is me?
So aggressive, this is,
what you're doing today, right?
oh,
So how did it start for you? What was the
yeah.
first couple of even months, or why did you go into this avenue?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think, and you've probably heard this throughout, like I typically gravitate to more group, team, even though I was shy in that setting when I was younger. That has typically been where I like to play, team coaching, facilitating workshops, things like that in larger groups. And I always thought, oh, I'm probably not so good with one-on-one coaching. And then a mentor of mine who I worked with on a leadership development program, it was filled with all coaches. And I was like,
Mm.
wait, I can do this and the stuff that I love. What am I waiting for? And so I think it really opened my eyes to how I could go deeper with people. It sounds somewhat similar to your mind body, right? Of how do I support
Right.
that mind body connection and help people really transform? How do I bridge that learning doing gap? And so I think coaching kind of started getting louder. Yeah, so I got into my coaching program. I'm trained as an integral coach, which means that it sounds like somewhat similar to you, really trying to tap into the 3 intelligence centers. So head, IQ, heart, EQ, and body, BQ, right? Those different intelligence centers. So we can use those to try to find the best actions to move us forward, to integrate, align, so that we're moving in that feeling of alignment and integration.
Mm. Love it, love it. So you're more specific, and I love the fact of what you told us what it is that you're doing. What can somebody expect when they start working with you?
I mean, I think one, I hope that we have a little bit of fun. I think I think it can't be this, "Oh god, I have to talk to Lindsay now," right? I think, hopefully it's fun, it's safe.
Mm.
I like to think of myself oftentimes as a mirror, right? Where I can reflect back. And I really like to reflect back your goodness,
Mm.
and how we can dial up more of you versus thinking about changing you. That's not really what I'm in the business of. It's
Mhm.
really more, okay, we've got a lot in us already. How do
Mm.
we dial up, dial down for the moment? And I like to get really creative with experiments. I
Okay.
think there's something to trying things on and, you know, seeing what sticks.
I love what you said about not changing you, because it's almost like you see so many relationships. I love you, now change for me. Change
Yeah.
for who I want you to be. And I love the fact that you said that you're helping them be the better version of who they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Or just whatever version the situation needs,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you consider a client, who would you say is a there is no great client until they accept that they're gonna be a great client. Who would you
Yeah.
consider, who would you like to work?
Yeah. I mean, I have been so blessed with amazing clients that are, so diverse and how they operate. I think for me, the biggest thing is somebody who is ready to just take action.
Mm.
We can figure out what those actions are. They don't have to be big, grand gestures. They can be tiny, tiny actions, but being in a place where okay, I want this, and let's play, really.
When you say let's play,
Yeah.
could that cost somebody something if they're thinking of just having fun and maybe not dialing
Yeah.
in because a lot
Yeah.
of people are afraid of doing the actual work.
Yes. I think the reason it's a great call out because it can then be, oh, well, we're just playing. We're not actually
Mhm.
doing the work. But I feel like depending on what it is, right? Like
Mhm.
if you can always couch it in the context of, right, if you think about professional athletes, right, as just a typical one, they're working hard, but they also get to play. They get to play what they love. So how do you marry the two? I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, you can work very hard, but if there isn't an element of play, then it's hard to keep coming back to it because there's no joy in
Yeah.
it.
Agreed, 1,000%. It's almost
Yeah.
like the person that puts all their money underneath the mattress
Yeah.
and they just or in their closet or whatever, and they never enjoy it,
Yeah.
and they pass away.
I know.
That's
Yeah.
not living, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. You wanna enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times, I have friends of mine who are, they're world travelers. They're here, they're there. Sometimes it's, "Where are you?" And so and I'm saying that to them, but then other people are saying the same thing to me. "Where are you now? What are you doing? What's going on?"
Yeah.
But it's about, having that balance, if you will, right? Of, yes, I'm gonna I me personally, I don't think I work, right? But when I grow up,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get a job, but I'm having fun along the way, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say to me, "Man, you work so hard." And I'm like, "I do? I better stop that."
It's so true though, Sifu. I feel like when you really love what you do, it
Mm.
charges your battery,
Oh, yeah, big time.
right? It's not, I mean, like sending invoices might not charge my battery, but like the actual work I'm doing to charge the invoice is charging my battery.
Yeah, yeah. It's, and I think you touched on it earlier when, you're helping somebody even with the little things,
Mm,
right? That they didn't even think that they were even capable of.
yeah,
But you're there to show them how to do it.
yeah.
How do you get somebody who is fearful
Mm,
of success?
mm. It's an interesting one, right? Because most people are driven more by failure. I think, one of the things, or at least one tool that I like to use with people is something I call the 3 stories,
Mm,
where you kind of get people to think about, well, what else? Right? Like what else could happen? And there's something to, well, what if I'm wildly successful and I can't sustain it? Yep, that could happen. And
mm,
what else? Right? And when you start to create more possibilities, I
mm,
feel like it settles the nervous system a little bit, and it also creates that space for curiosity and that space for it doesn't have to go that way.
right. I love the space of curiosity because it allows people to say, "You know what? It's okay if I mess up. It's okay if I fail."
Yeah.
And one day, somebody said to me, "Oh, I hate failure." I
Yeah.
said, "How do you know? How do you know if you fail? Because if you don't try, you won't know." So
Right.
people are afraid to try something because they don't wanna fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Fear of failure is a big thing. I think that's probably a top thing that is really driving a lot of overwork too for people.
Mhm. Right, because they overcompensate, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that having that balance of fun, family, and work, even though I don't call it work, I think it's fun, fun, family.
Love it.
When you talked about your son,
Mhm.
do you have one? Do you have
I
multiple kids?
have yeah, I have a 15-year-old boy who's a sophomore in high school, and I
Nice.
have a, newly minted teenage girl who's in 7th grade in middle school.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
I also have 2 boys. Mine are they're I'm gonna call them boys still, but one is 21, the other one's 24.
Uh,
And, as you do for your children, you always want the best for them, but you can't
yeah,
control their outcomes, which is hard as a parent, right?
yeah.
Funny thing is, last night I had a dream with my 21-year-old,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here, and he just passes me by, and he kinda, like, nods at me. He keeps going. I'm like, "What's going on here?" But that was the end of my dream. That was it. And it was like he was, like, approving something, or he's like, "Yeah, I got you," and then I'm gonna keep going.
Huh.
But and he's doing phenomenal. I couldn't be any
Yeah.
prouder. And so
Oh,
is my 24-year-old. I mean, wow. God
yeah.
has blessed me with 2 beautiful kids, and He
Yeah.
has blessed you. When we think about our future,
Mm.
it's our kids.
Mhm.
And even sometimes we're always constantly, for me personally, I'm always looking at kids and I'm like, oh man, I hope you do right because your future
Yeah.
is going to impact my future, right? So I want to have a great future. Uh, and
Yeah.
so therefore, for me, helping youngsters is so critical in everything I do.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest wins that you have found through your coaching?
For youngsters or for
Any of your
oh.
clients, yeah, or youngsters, anybody.
Um, I mean, I think one of the things that really delights me is when I have a client who maybe is just not in the space of really trusting themselves.
Mm,
They're either in that place of should or comparison or feeling like an imposter. And when we close that engagement, and I can tell that they are really like in that space of self-trust, that to me is such a
mm,
joy. Like I had this one client who I love who she was just feeling like she couldn't be her full self, wasn't really trusting the value that she was bringing to the table, and she ended up over time, she got promoted, she got invited to present at this big meeting, and she said, "Lindsay, I felt like Cinderella at the
mm.
ball." And that just, delighted me so much that, she was on this journey and that she could feel like Cinderella and that she was in this place of really trusting herself and that people were seeing how much she contributed and how much value she added when she trusted herself to speak up and to share her thoughts and all of that. So that
That's
that
incredible.
was yeah, that was a
Ho
delight.
hopefully she didn't lose her shoe, but, that's a good thing.
Yes.
When we consider, the impact that you're making, what do you, foresee 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, um, the impact that you're having?
I mean, my hope, and
Mm,
this ties back to, the young people in my house, I really wanna make workplaces better. I
mm,
really wanna be part of that conversation because I do think that there's a place between being sick of working and working ourselves sick that it sounds like we have. We've found that place, and I hope that I can support others in finding that. And frankly, my kids are going to be in the workforce probably in 5 to 10 years. So TikTok, we've got a lot of work to do
Ah,
because I want to make sure that they're in the kind of workplace that is really going to support them and their gifts, and where they'll feel valued and seen and feel like they belong.
mm, absolutely. I know you said TikTok and you meant the clock,
Yeah.
but then you made me think of TikTok, the app. And when we think about it, that is something that is hurting our youth. Um,
Mm.
and all these different apps, and I use them for promotions and things of that nature. But how important is it for, because there's an you remember the old saying, right? Like the three monkeys, like say no evil, see
Yeah,
no
yeah,
evil,
yeah,
hear no evil, and there's a new one going around. It's yep, they see no evil, or they see nothing, they say nothing, they hear nothing, and they're not even part of the universe anymore because they're so
yeah,
engulfed in their phones. So
yeah,
that's the next portion.
yeah,
How do you navigate that as a coach who probably has to be on some platforms to and I don't know, are you on platforms? Because for me, being on the platforms is just being current.
yeah, yeah. It's hard. I think presence is and attention is the most valuable commodity right now,
Correct.
more than money.
Yeah.
And so I know it's something that I'm intentionally really trying to work on.
Mm,
Um, we try to set boundaries in our household, but it is really, really hard to compete with 24/7 content. And I think that the more downtime, device free time that we can create for ourselves, the more we have time to really process our experience, make meaning out of things. So sometimes when I'm driving with my son, because we go to a lot of baseball tournaments
yeah.
in far off places, I'll say, look, you got to put the phone down. You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to talk to me, but I need you to just like be bored and just be with your thoughts
Yeah.
for a little bit. And it's really hard.
Mm. What are your thoughts? And we're talking about kids, obviously, but it also it's rolling into the adults because I see even people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they're on their phones constantly.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see it everywhere. What are your thoughts about the fact that some schools are now mandating that the kids put their phone in this little pouch, which I saw a
Yeah.
video on it. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
A little pouch, and then it gets locked. And then only at the end of school they can go to a place and they can unlock. It's like a magnetic unlock. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, we're at least in, elementary and middle school, that's device free.
Mm,
High school, I don't think they're device free right now, but I mean, I feel like, yeah, then you have space for learning and connection.
mhm, mhm. I think we need those little pouches in the car when we get on a ride. for,
You know,
for
if only
some
my map wasn't attached to it.
Right, but even now, I see people in high-end cars, and they're still on their phone, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, don't you have Bluetooth in your phone? Why
Yeah,
do you have your hand on here?"
yeah,
Um, so when we consider, navigating the crazy world we live in, it's still I'm so happy I am living in this current day,
yeah,
age with technology. I can only imagine what 50 years from now would look like.
yeah.
I hope it's not scary.
Same.
What's the one thing, if you were to be remembered way after you're gone, way after I'm gone, what's one thing you would want to be remembered by?
Oh,
And I'm not asking for your demise either.
yeah.
Right.
No, I mean, I
400 years from now, 400
yeah.
years from now.
I mean, I hope that at the end of the day, people remember me as a good friend, a good mom, a good partner, like that I was part of their journey and that I, was either there to help them, support them, or, bring joy, whatever it is. So make the world less lonely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When you consider, you just said, I hope they remember me that I was a good friend, but 400 years from now, I don't think your friends are not going to be there either.
This is true.
Um,
This is true.
so I'm talking a little bit more of legacy. What is one
Yeah.
thing you would like to leave for men and womankind, if you
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason why I wrote my book is I want the workplace of the future to be human.
will?
So, my hope is that we can shift out of our current ways of working and really discover a new paradigm
Mm,
that, embraces work as human.
right. Tell us a little bit about your book and what was the reason that you said I need to write this.
I mean, I think so. The name of the book is Working Hell to Working Well, Making Your Company Work for You.
Mm,
And I think for me, after a couple decades in HR, I just have seen a lot of suffering in the workplace. And some of it is, we put it on ourselves. Some of it is organizations
mm,
not, taking care. So, how can I take my learnings from my own experiences, from working with coaching clients? What journey can I take people on that's very practical, very
mm,
applied, like action oriented, um, to be able to find a more aligned way of working, with their values and their, their own satisfaction and meaning in life,
mm,
but also simultaneously, for me, the big aha is how do you live that out loud so that it's safe for others to live their lives out loud and make work life harmony something that we embrace and not sneak around.
mm. Yeah, I love that. So AI is not fully taking over, right?
I don't know. I feel like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately that have me a little shaking in my boots, but I mean, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think we still need that human connection. We still need that interaction, if you will.
Yeah,
Where, yeah, don't get me wrong, can a robot flip a burger? Sure,
yeah,
right? Can a robot, hand you your fries or whatever it is that you're getting at fast food? And then if we go into more of the kitchens of restaurants, I think that people are going to want a person to put
yeah,
their input into the food so it tastes better. We don't
yeah,
want just the same generic type of thing. I believe.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can't remember the exact data, but I feel like MIT did some study that was, head to head, right? Like the machines beat the humans.
Mm,
But actually, when you put them together, that's really where the magic happens. So that's my hope for the future is that we do find a way to, you know, coexist in a very human, way, and that we're not using AI to work more hours, but we're actually using AI so that we can live more hours.
Yeah. Yeah. No Terminator, right? No Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, "I'll be back," kind of deal.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Because that would be a scary, scary world.
Yeah.
Lindsay, I got to tell you, what a great conversation we've had, and thank you for the energy that you brought into it. We're going to start wrapping up, but what I want to do is I want people to know and to follow you.
Oh,
Where
thank
can we find you? I'm going to put your website is going across the bottom, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also here I put in where your book is where somebody can pick up your book, right?
Yeah.
So we have those two going across.
Yeah.
Tell us about what somebody can expect when they say, "Hey, Lindsay,
Yeah.
need you to be my coach."
Yeah. Then, would love to hear from you. I'm very active on LinkedIn. That's my primary social media channel. So
Mhm.
love for people to connect with me there. I try to post somewhat regularly, and, share thoughts and tools and, variety of things. If someone said, "Hey, I want you to be my coach," then, I would say, well, let's get on a call and see if this is a match and, go from there.
Yeah. I love that. You said, "Let's see if it's a match," because, a lot of people think that everyone is gonna be their client, and that's
Yeah.
such a mistake that people make,
Yeah.
'cause you
Yeah.
can't be everybody's coach. You can
Yeah.
only be the right people's coach, right?
Right. Right. It's so interesting. One of my, current clients, we met and I was like, "Oh my god, I love this woman. I hope she picks me." And she didn't, and I was like, "Oh, man." But it's funny, she picked somebody because she's like, "Oh, I thought this person would be better for me." And she worked with them. She said, "I got a lot out of them, but now I wanna work with you." And
Mhm.
so it's interesting how sometimes we even talk ourselves out of who the right coach for us is. And
Mm,
so I think that's that place of like really leaning in. Who's speaking to your heart,
mm.
right? Because you can certainly make a decision with your head, but that for me is that those are the people who I think find me.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree with you because personally, I have to kind of love my clients.
Yeah.
And I've fired some who were not in alignment or who made promises and they never kept them, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person, if I make you a promise, not only am I gonna keep it, I'm gonna over deliver.
Right.
And
Right.
that's just because, I'm thrilled that you picked me, right? Just like
Right.
you were. I'm
Yeah.
happy. But there's gotta be that synergy that we have to find when we
Yeah.
hire a coach or we're hired as a coach. Because I fired coaches also because
Yeah.
they promised the world,
Yeah.
and all I got was a little rock, right? So,
Yeah.
we gotta be careful, so everybody do me a favor, reach out to Lindsay, have a
Yeah.
conversation with her,
Yeah.
and if this show impacted you in any way, or if you know somebody that needs to listen to this show, please go ahead and share it.
Thank
Lindsay,
you.
what a pleasure. Thank you
Oh,
so much for being
thank
here.
you so much for having me. I wish I could ask you all the same questions back.
Well, then you're gonna have to have a show and have me on it.
I
Uh,
know, clearly.
but here's the thing, I want you on my other shows too, so
Oh,
please stay
oh,
on for a
thank
little
you.
bit. We're gonna say goodbye to everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, thank you so much for chiming in. We have a bunch of people who came in. Emilio, you're always jumping on and saying
Oh,
beautiful things, Emilio. Thank you, my friend. I got Nikki Cruz, Ronnie, MD. You guys are incredible. And if you watch this as a replay, just put hashtag replay so we
yeah.
can hear. Thank you,
Oh,
everybody. God bless.
thank you. Thank you for joining.